everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to part 2 of my Buzzwordathon vlog. So what I tried to do is I'm trying to do the entire Buzzword readathon challenge that Books and Lala sets out for the whole year. I'm trying to do the whole year in 1 month because I did not do it month by month, and now here it is September and I haven't done any. So I will link the vlog for the first 6 months down below, and now we're starting the second 6 months. So July is a bookish word in the title, and so I'm trying to do all of this just from my shelves. And so I'm reading The Friendship List by Susan Mallory. So I'm saying list is kind of a bookish word because I mean lists are things that you write in a book, or write when you're trying to write a book. You make a list of things, right? So this one is really interesting. It's about two like middle-aged women, I would say, because one of them has a kid that's about to go to college, and the kid is like, I can't go far away because my mom needs me. She has no life outside of me, basically. And so her and her best friend make these lists for each other of things that they need to do to kind of get out of their rut and kind of like get a life for themselves. And her friend does not have the same situation, but she's kind of in a rut. So yeah, that, and both of them are single. And so there is their perspectives, as well as we get kind of the point of views of, or we get the stories of two love interests. And I almost wish, I mean, me personally, I wish this was more just women's fiction and not as much romance, but it definitely toes that line. I would say it is more women's fiction than romance, but it's definitely a mixture of both, because her friend is involved in this like retirement community, even though she's like 35, and she's really involved. Like all of her social activities are through there. Most of her friends are like octogenarians, and so she meets a guy that is a grandson or something there. And then we get a lot of romance for both of them. And I really wish this was just them finding themselves for the sake of themselves and like romance maybe. But we'll see how it progresses. The one thing I'm really not liking about this book is like the use of like sex as a way of measuring your life. Like, of course I don't have a life. I haven't had sex in this long, is what they're talking about. And I'm like, oh, like that is not the way we measure if you have a life or not. And it's a lot of like, one of them I think has on their list, like, have a one night stand. And I'm like, that is not, like, to me, that's not a requirement for like living life to the full. So, yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on like that kind of stuff. We have not seen any steamy scenes, but based on the emphasis and like the amount that it's mentioned, I'm guessing they're coming. I don't really know. So we will see. I will check in later. Hey everyone. So I have finished The Friendship List by Susan Mallory, and I liked it. So, okay, the things I liked about this book are that female friendship is strong in this. Like, these women are both in their 30s, and it really brings to light like how intentional you have to be. I'm like distracted by this. I'll turn it down. Yeah. Anyway, it definitely brings about the discussion of like how intentional you have to be to maintain your friendship. And I like seeing that these two women were intentional about maintaining their relationship. And I liked that they are both in their mid 30s and in very different places in life, and yet work to maintain that friendship. So, one of our characters is she got pregnant by like a one night stand when she was 17 or whatever, and so she's got a teenage son, and she's single and has not like dated or done anything since she was 17. And then the other one is a widow, and she is like still sleeping in her husband's like bed and acting like he's not dead, and like there's pictures of them everywhere even though he's been gone for a long time. And so both of those are really hard places and really different places, and the way they support each other through it is great. And they have like a fight, kind of a blow up at a time that I feel like isn't necessarily realistic, because I feel like as 30-something women, we often bottle things up, but it also shows that they're almost like sisters, you know, because there are very few people that you can like just kind of blow up on when you need to, and they were that for each other. So I really like seeing that friendship. I didn't like that both of them have a relationship thing that kind of like pulls them out and saves, like gets their life started back over when really they could have done it independently. I don't like how steamy this book was and how much emphasis there was on sex and the role of sex and all of that kind of stuff. Like, just not for me. And overall, it like, that really kind of muddied my enjoyment because so much was about their relationships. And so, again, I don't know if I call this a romance or a women's fiction, and I don't know. I think I'll probably give it 3 stars. Definitely not my favorite, but it had a lot of potential. So, next is, let's see, August, which will be, an item or an object. So I think what I'm going to read is The Woman with the Blue Star by Pam Jennoff, and I'm not sure though. I haven't decided for sure. So, a blue star is obviously an object. This is a World War II historical. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for that or not. So, I'll get on and let you know for sure once I decide. Hey everyone, so I'm coming to you with my mask beard from the NICU. And I'm going to be kind of quiet and just hope that I can turn this up in editing. But anyway, I picked up the Christmas box instead of the one with the blue star, just because I was not feeling like anything that heavy. Like I didn't want such a heavy World War II read. So I picked up the Christmas box, which is a short story by Richard Paul Evans, and it was really heartfelt and all of that, just like you would expect from Richard Paul Evans. It's a story that compares the like love of a parent to the love God has for us, and through a Christmas box, I guess. And I don't want to say a whole lot about it because it is so short. So I liked it. I felt like with short stories, I really struggle to like connect to the characters in the amount of time you have, and so I gave it 3.5 stars. I know this is like a really loved book, but that's just a thing for me. I struggle with short stories. So then now I'm working on the next month, which is a book with light or dark in the title. And so I'm reading The Night the Lights Went Out by Karen White. And guys, I don't know. So I started this on audio, listened to 3 hours of it, like on 2 times speed. So it was like 1.5 hours. But I listened to that, and then I had to restart it because I was like, wait, who are these characters? What's going on? And so it, like, I just found myself continually zoning out. And so now I'm like 4 hours, like I started it all the way over, and now I'm like 4 hours in, and I'm still just like, is there going to be a point to this story? It is very slow paced, and it's about this woman who rents a apartment with her 2 kids and rents it from this old lady. It's got really good Southern vibes, but otherwise, like, there's not really a plot. We're just finding out a little bit about the older lady. Her name is Sugar, about her house, or I mean her life. You guys, it is cloudy. It's Thursday, and I'm like so tired, so I feel like I have no brain cells. But yeah, and so we find out a little bit about her past, but most of it is the present day, and it's just okay. I'm like really struggling. I would probably DNF it if it weren't for this readathon. So we'll see. I've heard the last 25% is good, so we'll see. I'll let you know. Hey everyone. So just kidding. I'm gonna go ahead and DNF the Night the Lights Went Out by Karen White. I am just not interested. Like, I got over like 5.5 hours in, and I don't care. And I have like 9 hours left or something. So I am feeling really slumpy, like not wanting to pick it up. And I just am going to DNF it. It might not be the right time, but I feel like I've given it 2 decent efforts, and I don't care. And I know I'm in the huge minority with this because it's got like over a 4-star rating on Goodreads, and I'm sure it's a fine book. It is just too slow for me. So, if you're looking for good Southern charm, I'm sure you would like it. If you're, like, I've heard it's kind of like a mix of Fannie Flagg and Kate Morton, and I would agree. I mean, from what I've read, I would agree of that, and it was just too slow, and I didn't connect with any of the characters, so I'm DNFing that. So, sorry for this vlog's purpose. We're going to move on, but it's actually like 2 or 3 days later, and I decided that 2 or 3 days ago. And like I said, it put me in a slump where I don't want to pick anything else up. But today I have picked up Worthy by Catherine Ryan Hyde. I always get Catherine Ryan Hyde and Catherine Ryan Howard mixed up. Very different authors. One is like a thriller horror author. the other is a very like inspirational contemporary author, and it is the contemporary inspirational author. So this is the story of a man and his son. His wife has died. They have a dog, and then it's concurrently the story of a waitress who is friends with them, and there's a lot that's going on. I'm not that far into it. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to be inspirational. She is the one who wrote Pay It Forward, and I obviously really like that book. So we'll just see what comes of it. I feel like it's probably going to be a harsher rating regardless, just because I'm kind of slumpy. But overall, so far so good. I'm not that far into it, and it's definitely not like a slump buster. I'm a couple hours maybe into it, and I'm not like itching to pick it up, but it's good. So we'll see. I'll let you know what I think. Hey everyone. So I have finished Worthy, and I liked it. Like Catherine Ryan Hyde, I feel like she delivers on what she promises every single time. So this was an inspiring story about I kind of told you the basic premise, the very beginning. Guy has a kid. He's a widower. He has this girl at this diner, and they're kind of crushing on each other. Then something happens, and we flash forward to like 15 or 20 years later. And that woman in the diner, she is engaged to this guy who's just a scumbag. She's got this awesome dog, and then the dog goes missing, and a young man finds the dog. And so then she like gets connected with this young man, and their pasts have connections, and it just all is a sweet story, especially about the love of a dog, and how like if you mess with my dog, you are out. And I love that message. And I love books that like are not necessarily like the perspective of a dog or anything like that, but like just truly show the companionship that dogs offer. I love that. I loved both of our main characters, the young man and the woman. And I just thought this was really heartwarming, so I give it 4 stars. Now I'm reading While We Are Watching Downton Abbey by Wendy Wax. So I really like Wendy Wax as a women's fiction author, and this one is good. This is about a kind of like apartment building or whatever. It's kind of a luxury apartment building, and all the different women primarily that live there, and the male concierge. And he plans this event that is like a watch party of Downton Abbey. And so they all have very different backgrounds, very different things going on, and yet they get together once a week to watch the first season, even though like the current season is out or whatever. None of them have watched it, so they get together to watch the first season. I have never watched Downton Abbey, so I'm not like getting the like fangirl stuff, because they talk a little bit about the show and the characters in the show, and I'm just lost on that, but it doesn't really matter for the story. And I think I would like this more at a different time, just because there are a lot of characters and a lot of storylines. Like, I think there's maybe 4 women in the apartment that we're following, and then the concierge maybe. I can't remember exactly how many, but I either need to be taking character notes or just reading this in a more like clear, focused state of mind, because Nikki life has been a little crazy. There's been a lot of ups and downs this weekend, and so yeah, maybe not the best time, but I'm still really enjoying it. Definitely not knocking the book. So I just am not picking it up as much as I would normally, because I like don't have the brain power. But I think I'm like a third of the way through, so I should finish soon, and I will let you know when I do. Hey everyone, it is a couple days later, and it has been some rough days in the NICU, so I'm probably going to make this quick. But I finished While We Were Watching Downton Abbey, and it was cute. It was really like exactly what I expected, and I really enjoyed it. And like by the end, even in my like crazy brain, you really definitely had everybody set apart, and I think this would have been so much more fun if I watched Downton Abbey. But so it was good, 4 stars. So then, and that one was for a book with the ing in the title, so watching. Then the last one was a book with numbers. So I did First to Die by James Patterson, and I really like to read these physically because they're such short chapters. They make me feel so accomplished. But I read it mostly on audio just because that's life right now, and I loved it. Like, I would give it 5 stars. It's the first in the Women's Murder Club, and it is a defense attorney, a reporter, a criminal investigator, and a coroner. and they are 4 women who, like, throughout the book, they join forces, and it's just awesome. And there's this, like, there's a serial killer that they are trying to figure out, and it, like, I definitely was really thrown for loops about who it was, and so I just loved it. Like, his old books especially, like, are 5 stars for me. This one, I'm giving it more like 4.5, because there was some language I didn't like. Like, I don't really mind cursing in books, but when they use the Lord's name in vain, I really have a hard time with that. And it was only done once, I think. But that's really hard for me. And then there was some steaminess that I could have done without. So probably 4.5 stars, but overall, really good. So the second half has been a little hit and miss, but I will recap everything down below in what books I read. And if you have read any of these, let me know what you think. And if you want to chat about anything, hit me up in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.